When asked, are boys and girls raised differently? 50 out of 50 people said yes, they are.
Boys and girls are raised differently because boys, I think they are a little bit harder on them.
There are differences because fathers are more protective over their little girls than they are with their boys, because they know boys are able to handle themselves, but their little girls have to be more protected.
When boys are raised in a family, they're usually raised more aggressively and more straight to the term, more direct, more than women are, because women are more sensitive and you'd rather be more careful and gentle with them because they're feminine.
We do tend to be more overprotective over the girls than the boys.
I think that men are supposed to be the dominant, they can't cry, or they'll be shown as weakness, or they have to be protective.
So, if they're raised differently, how does this affect their behavior?
It affects their behavior because I guess they're going to be more delicate, and girls play with Barbies and guys are going to be outside getting dirty and in the mud.
When you're raised differently, you end up having different morals and standards of your values.
I think being raised affects their personalities a lot. For me, I was raised in a Christian home with my mom and dad had a perfect marriage, and they were great parents, and so I've turned out to be a pretty good kid.
Well, should they be raised differently? 34 out of 50 people thought they should, 10 thought they should not, and 6 thought that they should in some points but shouldn't in others.
No, because when they're raised differently, the siblings tend to think that the other one is getting special privileges.
I think girls and boys should be raised equally in society, so that way there's equality throughout.
Yeah, they should be raised differently because that's how it's always been, and it's worked out so far.
Many people think that it's wrong that many toys are specific to one gender. Well, should we do anything about it and make toys more gender neutral, or is it fine the way it is?
I think the way that we make toys now is fine because it shows that they still have their individualism.
Most parents don't want their son playing with a Barbie doll, but they're fine with a G.I. Joe.
Because there's not that much problems now. I think with kids, they do their own thing. It's not that big of a deal.
If a boy wants to play with a girl's toy, I don't think anybody should raise question.
Why do we raise our children this way? Is it just because of how we want to raise them? Or is it because we feel pressured that we want our kids to fit in with society and what's basically a stereotype of what a man and a woman should be when they grow up?
I think that parents parent their kids the way they do because they want their kids to grow up to be successful members of society, not because they're doing it so they'll be like everyone else, just so that they grow up to be themselves, like what they want to be.
In conclusion, it seems to me that many people feel that men and women should be raised differently. But is it just for the stereotypical wants and needs of the parents, or is it because they actually need it? Dr. Robin Alter explains in her article that boys and girls need different styles of parenting. Girls are more nurturing and able to be talked to because they care about the relationship, whereas boys need action to be taken. So perhaps we need to look over everyone being stereotypical and just realize that boys and girls honestly do need to be raised differently because they respond and prioritize different things they value more than girls.